As Colorado continues to recover from the floods, you probably remember well what was going on 1 year ago, right about now.
Taking a look here at how quickly this water is moving down the river. Earlier today, Major and I saw enormous trees.
Our Major King, along with reporter Lindsay Sablon, they were live at this time along this bridge over the Big Thompson. And by the end of the day, you might recall, that bridge was gone. It was swept away by the rushing waters. Well, Major King went back to that spot today to check things out. And Major, that bridge still not back.
No, Ann, that's right. You know, I do remember that day quite well. I'm sure most of us do. We were standing on the bank here just, watching the footbridge down there, hoping that it would make it. In the end, it succumbed to the waters of the Big Thompson. It floated downriver about 300 feet where it became trapped against a giant cottonwood tree. I'm told by Tom Hacker that the bridge now resides over at a Parks and Rec facility about a mile from here. They do have every intention of reinstalling that bridge. I'm told it will be about, likely be on the other side of Wilson Avenue, to the west of Wilson Avenue, when they get it put in sometime next summer. We're going to shift gears now and take you upriver to the village of Glen Haven, where they were impacted greatly by the floods. Glen Haven is not incorporated. Their roads are private up there, and because they're private, they've had to rely on an army of volunteers to get those roads rebuilt. Take a ride. A very rough ride.
Here's what the creek right here came right down the middle of the road.
With the road warrior of Glen Haven.
It was a very tight community and very close-knit community prior to the flood, but it's become much more.
Resident and retired physician Tony Fink has a new avocation.
We've been working for the last 4 to 5 months rebuilding our roads that were severely devastated by the flood of 2013.
He'd be the first to tell you he's not alone.
So we're just pitching in to help. The entire community's been working hard to rebuild our community.
It was a year ago, of course, that roads became creeks, cabins became submarines, and bridges eventually ceased to exist.
This was 8 feet deep where we're driving on. It was the stream, and all these culverts were gone.
It's estimated it would take $2 million to repair the roads.
These are all private roads, and so we really received minimal assistance from the county.
And so, one load at a time, into a pair of 25-year-old dump trucks procured from CDOT for $1, a can-do army of citizens went to work.
99% of it's been volunteers. We've been blessed with the faith-based communities have sent hundreds of people here to help us.
The only one getting paid, a retired road builder working for half his normal salary, who tediously replaces and levels roadbed.
We've worked 7 days a week primarily since the flood to get this accomplished.
It's the community that's adopted the mantra, Mountain Strong.
Well, Glen Haven's going to come back a lot stronger than it ever was and more beautiful than ever. It's just going to take a little longer. It'll be a new normal.
I spoke with Tony Fink just this afternoon. He says they hope to wrap everything up sometime next week. They're not quite done yet, though. They could really use about $300,000 in money to put a final cap on that road to prevent future erosion with the winter storms. I would be remiss if I didn't let you know about a little bit of a controversy. FEMA granted $150,000 in money to 7 landowners in those residential areas up above Glen Haven. They have since decided that those landowners were members of an HOA. They would like that grant money back. The landowners are fighting that. They've hired counsel and they have filed an appeal. We'll see how that plays out. Reporting live in Loveland, Major King, 7 News.
Thanks, Major. And right now, Estes Park still recovering from last year's floods. The biggest project is rebuilding this area on the east side of town. More than 4 miles of Fish Creek Road just wiped out. The town manager is telling us there is still a lot of work that needs to be done here.
It's going to be another year before we get that put back together. We're doing the design work, a lot of utilities to put back in. That's where we had our sewer wiped out.
So the town is hoping to have that finished by this time next year. There's a lot of concern about losing tourism, but the city manager tells us it's been a good summer with some busy weekends, and they hope that that will continue through the fall. In Jamestown today, volunteers shoring up a washed out road. It leads to the Calwood Education Center, which teaches kids about forestry practices. This is part of a larger volunteer effort today in northern Colorado. The governor has called on all Coloradans to volunteer tomorrow as part of a United Day of Service to commemorate 1 year since the floods.